welcome back to In Spirit with Missy Reno Smith.
And I'm Vanna Smith, and in this episode we're going to be talking about being seen by God and going to see God.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to start off, it's kind of a big topic, and kind of I think something a lot of humans struggle with on the daily, of not really being seen by God. Mm-hmm. And, we all kind of want to see God as well too, and feel God's lovely energy. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start off with the question of, why do we feel such a separation here on earth from God? Because I think we all kind of, there's just, we don't feel we can feel kind of unloved. We can feel kind of, just down. We can feel, like we're not being heard. Why is there such that separation?
So when we come here to Earth,
mm-hmm.
the normal person has amnesia. I don't.
Yeah.
It's a little different for me. But so you have amnesia,
mm-hmm.
and you feel just that disconnected from your Creator.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember your true home. You don't remember those interactions with your Creator.
Mm-hmm.
You feel disconnected.
Yeah.
And it is lonely, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's lonely.
I think that's probably the best word to describe it. We all feel this kind of loneliness and longing, and we don't always quite know necessarily what it's for. I mean, even in like our happiest of moments, I think that there is still just something that's missing. Like when you really I don't know if anyone else could even necessarily relate to that feeling, but there's always just that there could be something more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And it's not that God is missing, because God is there for all of those moments. It's that you're not
feeling it,
fully
actively.
Aware of it, feeling it. Yeah, you can have faith, and like God is with me, and all of that, but you're not fully connected and just aware and feeling God's gaze and just support. And so there is something that's always kind of missing.
Yeah
Exactly.
And it's kind of that disconnect from God too, that I think that we all kind of want to be famous, or want to be even just well known with in our friend group or all that. Is that sort of why we feel the need to do those things, have that?
Sure. I think so. I think the desire to be seen, and whether that is just seen in our community, seen within our family, our family group, our friend group, our community, and beyond. I think that desire, where that comes from, why people tend to feel that, is because they are missing that from God. Because God, that's how God makes you feel. Yeah. You are, you're Brad Pitt or whoever, you're just amazing. Yeah. The most amazing being, and you're the Julia Roberts of everything. I don't know. Yeah. And, just beautiful inside and outside. You're Tom Hanks. Yeah. Or something. I don't know. But because we, God is our number one fan. Yeah. And so we feel that. And also in heaven, I also think because we know each other when we meet each other, even when you're just meeting somebody new over there. Yeah. Just being in their presence and your energy sort of commingling, you just know each other. Yeah. And you're a fan. So you're immediately a fan.
There's just an immediate deep connection.
We're all fans of each other.
Yeah, which must be why it's kind of so hard, I think, here on Earth to connect with people, and it's hard to socialize too. No wonder we all kind of find it hard to socialize if over there we're just immediately connecting with people very quickly, so it's a lot frustrating here.
Yeah, there's a boundary here, right? We are giving off energy, the aura, people call it, we're giving off something, but, only so few of us read it. Yeah. And read it well. Yeah. Yeah. Not just aware of a color or something. that, I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't give you a whole lot.
Yeah.
But to be more aware and to be able to read it
Mm-hmm.
and truly what's going on in there and to truly know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like a disconnect
Yeah.
between us, between God. I mean, it's something we want.
Mm-hmm.
We miss it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better, I think, than feeling seen here on Earth, you know. Whether it is, you know, through being seen by all of your community or even just being seen by, like, one person, too,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's kind of
right?
why we all crave love, whether it be, you know, from a partner or from a parent or from a sibling or a cousin or whoever it might be, you
Yeah.
know. You crave that constantly to feel fully seen.
We don't want to be invisible.
Yeah.
And we're not. I mean, I think that maybe that comes from, you know, the you know, we either exist or we don't,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if we don't exist, we are invisible, and so if
Yeah.
we're feeling invisible, it's like we don't exist.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's hitting some real deep primal kind of fear in there, you know, that we can have here on Earth. I assure you, we do not have that fear in heaven.
Yeah.
We know our place. We know ourselves. We know we're safe.
Yep.
And so we don't have anything to fear. But here on Earth.
Yeah. I mean, as we get older, too, I kind of noticed that a lot of people who are, you know, like 50s, 60s, 40s, too, you know, like, as you get older and you're kind of, you know, approaching death or like when death is popping up in your mind, people really seem to want to feel seen more, you know, or they want to be remembered more. I mean, not everyone, but I do notice it a lot, you know, like they
Some
want
people.
to feel that sort of closeness again and feeling seen again, you know, which is very, I think, kind of interesting.
Well, I think we feel it early in life, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think young people in particular, you know, a lot of young people say they just want to be famous.
Yeah.
I just want to be famous. I don't know what I want to do. I want to be famous.
Yeah. Which is something that I think is also kind of interesting, too, just kind of like when I'm thinking about life and about childhood and all that. When we're little, I think that we feel the most seen, which is kind of funny because that's when we're always like, oh, I want to be famous when I grow up. I want to be whatever. Maybe that's just sort of a want to continue on that seen feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're closer to it.
Yeah.
We've just come from heaven. We're closer to it. And then, as a child, we always have eyes on us, hopefully. You do.
Yeah.
You know, you attentive parent.
Yeah.
You know, and the parent making us feel special.
And then it's always kind of like when more complex emotions and things happen in life that we feel less and less seen, and we kind of feel like we're further from God because we're not, you know, being seen as much. And those things happen as we get older.
As a teenager, we can feel very unseen.
Yep.
And or just misunderstood or not, you know, not understood, and that. But at any time of life, I think, I mean, and when we're getting older, as we're approaching, we might there are some people who kind of go into overdrive and wanting to leave a legacy behind.
Yep.
Probably out of fear, like, okay, when I die, what if there's nothing, you know, then what, you know, so I want my memory to be alive. I'm sure, there's people who would go through that. I've certainly had clients who were experiencing this. But, you know, there is a remedy. I have found.
Yep.
There's a remedy.
A magical potion to help.
Yes, there's a magical potion.
Magical potion. It's deep in the wilderness, in the woods. Just go frolicking and you'll find it.
So come frolic with me. I shall take you through the woods. No, I do. Okay, so I call it the Cradle of God. Okay. It's a session.
We're all like being little babies cradled by God.
You're going to be cradled by God like a little tiny little
baby.
And it's different for everybody what it feels like. But sometimes people do say they feel cradled. And this is why I use that term, is because so many clients have said they felt cradled.
Yeah.
And Not necessarily like in some giant arms.
Yeah.
Maybe. I know I've had several clients who felt like they were being held in a giant hand.
Yeah.
Like a King Kong.
Yeah.
Like they're just in the hand and being cradled. And, or just floating in space, but totally held.
Yeah.
Cradled, loved, held. So I take my clients, through so that you can feel what I feel.
Yeah.
And you can go to God. You can go to God.
Go and see.
Go see. The journey to get there is different for each person.
You could be frolicking through the woods, or you could just be walking towards something.
Yeah.
It could just be anything.
I've had clients who I once had a client who felt like she needed to deconstruct a brick wall. She was taking bricks off of a wall in order to come to God.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, she felt walled off.
Yeah.
And needed to take that down. And she wasn't smashing it. She was literally taking the bricks down. So, everybody goes a different way. Some people wander through a mist.
Yeah.
Some people are floating through space.
Yeah.
For me, I don't go to God. God comes to me.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
You're special.
No, I don't.
Better than the rest of us.
I don't mean it that way. But it just comes all around me. Like, I'm just here and then just, everything just moving down fast down.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a wormhole, but I'm not moving. It's like it's just coming down, and then I'm just there.
We've talked in the past about my experience doing one of these Cradled by God sessions with you. And we got kind of like sucked up into like a portal-y type thing, like a vacuum, and then God just kind of like came out through the wilderness to me, and came out as Oobleck.
Oobleck.
Which, for those that don't know what Oobleck is, it's like a think of like slime, but like if you were to like punch it, it's hard. Like it's like it could be like cement hard.
It can take a punch.
It can take a punch. And God was this small little like Oobleck, like iridescent blue, green, purplish colors on the ground, and I was just like looking down at them, and it was just very very, very odd. But that was my experience with it. That's how I needed to see God, and we all see him differently. So
I enjoy these sessions so much just because I get to see how somebody travels to God and how they see God.
Yeah.
I love this.
And I saw God as cartoony, weird Oobleck on the ground. Yeah.
It's very exciting to me to see how somebody needs to perceive God. And from this place in their journey, this whatever time and space, wherever is happening right now, how do you need to see God? How do you need to get to God, and how do you need to see God? It is so interesting to me.
I felt like when I did it that was a very like it was a very me way to see God. You know what I mean? Like that, it just that odd sort of whatever, but I also think, representation of Oobleck and that kind of iridescent colors is kind of a representation of God can kind of be anything and do anything too. He was, or they were smaller and, different, iridescent kind of colors can change and, can look soft but could be hard. And, there's lots of like, different, just like, it was an interesting representation, you know.
Absolutely. And some clients go to them, both sides, the male and the female. Sides to God. Some go to one or the other. That's always interesting to me as well. What do you need right now? What energy do you need? And I've always seen them both together. So I don't think I've ever actually experienced it on my own with just one or the other, but so I always see them together, and I think I need because it's my job to relay that back, and so that other people understand what God is, who they are, and they're made in our image. So I see them as they are. I don't want to see them as how it doesn't matter how I do, because it's not about me. So when I'm there, they're showing me their full representation in the various ways that they hold form, because they do hold form in multiple ways.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I go there with clients, it's all about how they need to see them.
Yeah.
And God will take whatever form you need.
And we're talking a lot about, like how we see them, how we see God. But in your own words and experience, how does it feel to be seen, you to be seen by God?
So for you to be seen by God is to be fully understood, just known, completely known, everything, good, bad, not, just, it's all there. It's like you're just laid out, just totally naked, totally naked. And, but you're loved and accepted just as you are.
You're feeling like Adam and Eve, just naked out there being seen by God.
Totally just naked before God, but you're loved, and it feels so good because you are known, and it doesn't matter, what flaws we may have, what things we're still working on, which ways we still need to grow.
Yeah.
We're just accepted and loved, and it is a very powerful experience.
Yeah.
When you have that, when you've experienced that, I mean, you can go forward, and it really doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about you. That's just somebody's earthly self. It's a reflection of them. It's not even a reflection of me. It doesn't matter. It only matters what I think and what my Creator thinks. And it matters how I put myself out there. That's what matters. I want to put myself out there in a way that is authentic and that, but I want to live up to what God sees. So,
and in my experience, when I did that cradling of God session with you, it was being seen by God felt kind of like, to describe it, was like an extension of myself, feeling that I felt the love and I felt seen, but also I felt more of like that kind of whole.
That is because we are all God experiencing God.
Yeah.
So as the children of God, made in God's image, we are an experiencing cell of God.
Yeah.
And so when we are, connected with our Creator, we are connected to the source of our original energy.
Yeah.
You are a unique and complete individual.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say that you are not complete on your own. You're just sort of empty in experience and wisdom. It's what you're gaining and growing. And so you're tapping into it. You're tuning into your Creator, which is the total sum of all. And so it feels familiar. It feels good. It feels part of you. You should feel that when you connect.
Yeah. And like a true feeling of safety too with, with God as well. Like there's just, it doesn't feel like you have to hide anything, It just feels like you can just be exactly what they made you to be,
And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. You're going to have that same feeling. It doesn't matter. This life, this place is a place of learning where we are meant to go through lessons. Some lessons are very tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're victims. Sometimes we're victimizers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. God has the same love for you as anybody else. And
God isn't going to judge you when you go see them.
That's right. I've never experienced it. And, I've taken a lot of people there, and a lot of people who have done some pretty interesting things that most of us probably wouldn't have been able to do. Or just wouldn't have had the opportunity, just life circumstances, all of this. I've never ever had anybody who said that their Creator was judging them.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen. I have had a couple clients along the way where it took more than one chance to get there.
Yeah.
And that was just them, And so what I would do is I would say, look, for whatever reason, today's not the right day.
Yeah.
We're just going to reschedule.
Yeah.
Let's just take a breath, take a break. We'll come back at this in a week or two, and we'll just do it then, right? No big deal. and then that time they just go,
Yeah.
So they just needed a little more courage. Yeah. That was just all about just, thinking they wouldn't be accepted.
Yeah. And I think that it does take some courage to, go do it. So, I mean, it is quite an experience. Most people think that you could only really meet your maker, I guess, when you do actually die, but to be able to do that here on earth is something that is just something really cool, and something, and also that not feeling judgment too was, I think for me personally, a major thing. Not necessarily because I've been judged by others much here on earth, but the judgment I place on myself, and then to kind of have that gone for as long as I was with God. It was just sort of, there's no judgment on myself. It was just sort of, I am just a part of all of this, I'm a part of God, I'm a part of everything, and there was just nothing there that, I just didn't feel the need to judge myself, which was something that was...
Oobleck's arms were wide open for you.
Wide open, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That is how it is. If you go, that's what you're going to experience.
Yeah.
And, you might have some epiphanies. I've had people now, and I make no claim of me doing this. I am not doing this. I have had people who have experienced types of healing during those experiences that did not come from me.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
So that was just from God, but me taking them there, that opened them up to a place where they were able to receive that. I make no claims that that's part of the experience for everybody, though. Yeah. But I do think that everybody receives a spiritual healing.
Yeah. When I went to go and I did my session with you, I asked to regain my energy back, from some health problems and all that. And I feel that I've really gotten a lot of energy back. I feel like I'm able to do a lot more. I'm not as tired all the time. I'm not as, I really, that helped. And then I also got to ask, kind of what my purpose is too overall from God. And that was really, really an interesting and cool thing. That for me was a very epiphany moment. From my session with you. Yeah.
Why did you create me?
Yeah.
What did you create me for? Yeah. That's a big one. And that's
I didn't get necessarily a direct answer of why I am the way I am. I more so got a feeling.
Yeah. And that's how it is for most people.
Yeah.
It's sort of a feeling rather than just one word or But when I do soul purpose coaching with clients, people who are trying to figure out their life purpose and their soul purpose, your overall arching soul purpose, that's kind of over all of your lives and just your time in heaven and everything. And it's never just one thing, by the way. It's never that. But those clients, I tend to take them on a Cradle of God experience because it's helpful to understand who they are. So if that's something you're looking for too, that is also something that we can address during that type of appointment. Yeah. And, I do this with clients in person, but I also do this with clients by phone. Yep. It does not matter. It's the same way I do regressions by phone. I just need you in a safe, comfortable space where you can close your eyes and just listen to my voice and that we can do it that way. As a matter of fact, most of my sessions take place that way. So if you're thinking you might want to do this, it doesn't matter where you're located in the world. We could do this. But it's a really interesting experience, and most people walk away with something like that where they feel like not just the love and the acceptance, but they feel like there was a gift of some sort, and it may have been a gift of healing, may have been a gift of knowledge of some sort, something, some wisdom, some understanding, something.
Yeah, 'cause for me, it's like I felt like I kind of already knew my purpose, overall, whatever, but I didn't... I knew it, but I didn't have a full understanding of it until I met with God and did that, because I got to feel it, in every aspect of it, I got to feel it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You know?
If I could just think back to the first time that I went fully, and just really fully gave myself over to that experience, I believe I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I say I believe because there may have been some times when I went as a kid, because I did a lot of astral travel and that, but the time where it was most important to me, I think, was when I was a teenager. And I was just not accepting, didn't want to accept what I do.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have it, didn't want to be this. And as actually most psychic mediums that I know went through that.
Yeah.
Very few people, I mean, I don't think I've met any, I mean, some people go searching for it, but like most of us, we had it from the start. We would gladly give it back.
Yeah.
at least at some point in our life, typically early on. And so that's what I was feeling at that time. Very common. And, but I remember going as a teenager, and I remember sort of getting a better understanding of myself.
Yeah.
What it meant, what it was, what I could do with it. And that was more accepting, right? Of course, it didn't, even in my 20s, though, I really wasn't, it was something that I did, and few people knew about, did with a few people, and that, but I just wasn't really ready to go out there, hang out a shingle, so to speak, and that, so I went again, and that time I went, and somebody was leading me.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't me going myself, it was actually me going with somebody, a healer, somebody, a good friend of mine, William Thomas Wagner, who I've talked about before, and he's retired, but he's a hypnotherapist and just a trauma specialist, just an incredible, amazing person. And he took me, and it was when he took me that I felt like I accepted the challenge. And like where he sort of held my hand and said, yeah, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to deal with some judgment and all of that stuff and that, but it doesn't matter because God loves you. God sees who you are. And this is your job. This is what you do. So it was like, before I remember just really just accepting myself. Yeah. And then when I was ready, then it was, okay, I'm ready to accept the challenge and to really put myself out there and to, to be the best I could be and all of that. So it was interesting how, even though it was something that I'd done myself and everything, many times, it was that time that I went with somebody that I think was most, one of the most impactful times, so, when I take people, I take them with that same, energy, I guess, of like, I want to be here for you in that moment, and what do you need? And I want to be here to support you and everything. And, sometimes it also means, I'm going to turn away. Yeah. I'm gonna let you experience what you need to experience without a visitor. Yeah. Without somebody, there with you. Sometimes you need a private moment, just whatever it is you need and that. So I don't know, I just want everybody to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can have that too if you go to MissyRenoSmith.com and book a Cradling of God session.
Yeah, I made it into its own session on my new online booking calendar, guys. Everybody go there, check it out. But you can book that easily, and just I know what you want when you book that, and we just go for it. We just do it, and again too, if hey, say you were to have some trouble, we'll just reschedule. There's like no pressure. Yeah. I never pressure my clients. I mean, it doesn't matter what we're doing. Just this regular session, guided meditation, past life regression, or a Cradle of God session. Yeah. There's no pressure. Like if we need to try again, we'll try again.
And go to the link in the description, whether you're watching on or you're listening on Apple Podcasts, watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Amazon, whatever you're listening on or watching, link in the description to MissyRenoSmith.com. It's always there. You can always go visit it. So anyways, I think that's all the time we have, though. Thank you for joining us.
Remember that God loves you. You just as you are right now. You're perfect just as you are. God loves you, and I'm sending angels your way.
If you'd like to learn more about Missy Reno Smith, please visit MissyRenoSmith.com to book a reading and purchase her artwork. You can find the In Spirit Podcast on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever you stream your podcasts.